All right. Everybody ready? Patrick?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is the City of Avondale Estates, Georgia. Board of Mayor Commissioners regular meeting is February 24th, 2026. It's now 5:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We have an agenda before us. Do I have a motion to adopt? That was Lida.
Second.
Grand was second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And Commissioner Smith is joining us via Zoom. He was not able to be here in time. This is an odd night for us, so he couldn't change his schedule. Anyway, commissioner comments. We'll start down there with Commissioner Stedman.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're kind of a little bit low, but we appreciate you coming on an odd night. One of the first things I wanted to do is thank Lori and Shannon. They took me on a walking tour of the new plantings on 278 and gave me some information about the trees that were planted in the mix. And I'm just thinking everything's looking great. And I really appreciate y'all taking the time with me. And I'm real excited when everything starts blooming. I think we're going to have a pretty spring in Avondale Estates. The other thing was I was glad to be a part of our Arbor Day celebration. The 44th year of being a tree city. We planted a hornbeam tree in memory of Miss Sheila Biggs. And her family was able to be present. And the hornbeam, if you didn't know, is about a 20 to 40 foot. It'll grow about 20 to 40 feet, and it's deciduous, it's native, and it's known for its attractive foliage and ecological diversity. Okay, that's all I have at the bottom.
They're good. Thank you. Commissioner Swan.
Oh, I like them both.
Sorry.
I prefer the first. I'm reminded, since we're off a day, we're not on our normal schedule, that it's a good time to remind folks that now, in addition to being available to listen to these recordings on the city's website, these are now being recorded and are on YouTube. So sometimes when I open up my YouTube app, I see my face in my vest here at my seat. And the YouTube ones are very easy to digest. And so for the folks who couldn't make it tonight and realize, oops, it's not so terrible to listen to these recorded meetings.
Okay, cool.
Not much for me tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Just wanted to say that I walked past the lake the other night and it looks so much better where they cleaned out in the corners. And let's see, and I was happy to see the delivery of the chairs out on the new plaza, and I really love the way that's coming together. So thank you guys. Yep, that's it.
Mike, do you have any comments online? Commissioner Smith?
No, I don't, but I did want to echo Louis. The audio is fantastic. I can hear everything loud and clear. So thank you everybody for bearing with me on the Zoom in. So happy Tuesday.
Well, thank you, Mike, and sorry you couldn't be here, but appreciate you joining in. I want to start out by saying, in the last couple of weeks, a couple of my favorite people in Avondale passed away, unfortunately. Randy Beebe, who was a commissioner when I first was elected, and just a great guy, always had something really wise to say, well considered. But that I'm gonna miss Randy. And Paul Varian, who was an Emmy Award winning journalist in the neighborhood, CNN writer, producer, passed away as well. And I always enjoyed talking to Paul because as a journalist, he would always ask you a question you could not possibly have expected, but but made you think, and I always enjoyed talking to Paul. Just really neat guy. But unfortunately lost both of them, but I'm glad to have known them. About the lake, I've heard a little bit about, well, we're dumping, the sort of, I don't know what you call it, debris over where we, collect Christmas trees and stuff and grind those up. And all that's temporary. We're trying to clean up the lake. It's an adjacent area that the city owns. It's convenient. It makes sense. But we're about to show the lake and the surrounds around the lake a lot of love. And so this is just phase one. We have some good news coming up later in the meeting, and I hope some of that pertains to the lake. But bear with us, we did finish with DeKalb finished that sewer project and got that looking good. But, we do need to use that space as a temporary sort of space for getting rid of that organic debris out of the lake and letting that dry out and do its thing. But it's all temporary. There's big plans for the lake, so stick with us. That's all.
Can I just make one more comment?
Sure.
I forgot to make. I also want to thank the Public Works guys for all the work that they did along 278 and helping prep it and mulch it and trim it. And thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Manager?
Yes, can I have a brief aside with you for a second?
Sure.
Okay.
Randy Beebe once, but he was a nice man. I used to see him walking a lot.
All right.
Yes, ready?
Yes, are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
The city and its partners, Roots Down and Georgia Tech student researchers are launching a new community climate and land stewardship workshop series this week. The first of 3 events occurs this Thursday, February 26th at 5:30 p.m. at the Northwoods Rain Gardens on the topic of stormwater, green infrastructure, and rain gardens. The team will share easy to understand science-backed insights on how rain gardens and other nature-based solutions help reduce flooding, improve water quality, and protect our local waterways while easing long-term strain on city infrastructure. Attendees will leave with practical tools and ideas they can apply to both public and private spaces. The next workshop will occur the following week on March 4th at 5:30 p.m. at the Town Green, and the topic will be urban soil health and climate resistance.
All righty then.
Yeah.
So that's it?
That's it.
Ah, usually.
But
Okay.
Exciting stuff.
No, it's all good. But thank you. All right, all good up here?
All good.
All right.
Actually, one thing for the
Yes.
city manager, am I correct that those presentations are going to be recorded by Georgia Tech?
Yes. Yes, they will.
Good. Okay, all right. First item, we have before us the meeting minutes of the February 11th, 2026 regular meeting and the February 11th, 2026 work session. Do I have a motion to engross the minutes?
So moved.
That was Lyda. Do I have a second?
Second.
That was Louis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Massive meeting tonight. Public comment. Yes, Tony.
Wiltshire. So we're apparently in part of the project, it was Georgia Power burying the lines. And I was wondering how, if at all, the city is involved with Georgia Power on this project, because as the neighbors around us, we're getting a lot of different stories about who's getting paid what, where are they gonna put it, if you say no, they're still gonna put the boxes on the right of way. And they say we don't want to use the right of way because the city might come in one day and put sidewalks in, which we say, no, that's probably never gonna happen, but they could still put it on the right of way. So the other day, when we had another meeting with Georgia Power, the engineer told us that they would like to put another pole on the corner, on our corner of Wiltshire and Nottingham. And there's a pole across the street, there's another pole, they're not taking the poles down yet. But so they want to add a pole, and then they want to put a giant box, one of those big ones on our, so they're trying to get our, consent to put it on our property. But as I'm standing there with the engineer and we're looking at where they're thinking about putting the pole, there's the stop sign right there. So I said, the stop sign is a thought for people coming through on Nottingham, but at least they stop. So how would that be okay? Who would, and he wasn't sure if that was actually gonna happen, but I would love to see like the city maybe get in touch with somebody from Georgia Power and we can have maybe Q&A, what's really gonna happen, because they're thinking about doing this in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I don't know what you all have heard or how involved you are where you live, but it's happening over in our neighborhood.
Well, I don't entirely know how to address that, but has the city put out anything about that?
It is not a city project. It is completely driven by the utility, which is Georgia Power. Within, you know, both areas of existing easement and, in conversations with property owners to obtain easements to, locate new infrastructure. We have met with Georgia Power. We understand what they are trying to accomplish. What they're trying to accomplish is to strengthen the power grid within the city of Avondale since especially the grid serving the area across 278, so the south side of the city, most commonly known as the residential area. There is a weaker than necessary power grid to serve the community. And so they are trying to install new infrastructure to provide for a stronger grid to hedge against future outages and flickers, especially in storms and or windy conditions. That is being handled by them solely. We do not have any influence or I guess for lack of a better term, authority to dictate any of their activity. However, we have been in discussions with them about an opportunity for them to hold a kind of a community Q&A workshop. We've encouraged that before, and we can try and reinforce that encouragement so that at least they have some sort of spokesperson speaking with one voice to the community, because I understand the frustration of having potentially involvement with multiple different representatives of Georgia Power who are saying slightly different things. And that's confusing. It also has the propensity to create a telephone game because the recipient of that information is going to hear it slightly different than their neighbors. So I think that would be, it's something that we will continue to encourage Georgia Power to pursue, so that, at least our residents are able to hear the message from a singular perspective. So I will commit to asking them once again to do that.
Cool.
Each street has a different rep.
Yeah, I think that would be wonderful if the city could facilitate that, because I think from what I've seen post on social media that there is a lot of confusion. There are a lot of people hearing different things, and anything the city could do to help facilitate the residents kind of getting one clear message would be wonderful.
Although I will say any effort to strengthen our power grid will be great, because seems like every couple of months you hear that familiar explosion in the background, and your lights are going to go off in about a minute because it's going to overload another transformer and it's going to blow. And then once that third one goes, well, you're out for a while. And it seems to happen an awful lot. And we get flickers a lot. It seems to be more frequent. I don't know about you guys, but yeah. So, but yes, thank you. All right. Other comments? Anyone online? Any out there? Other? Okay, all good? Yes.
If there's nobody, I was wondering if I could ask a question that I saw come up online. That some people were talking about the no parking signs on Chatsworth. They wanted to know if they were permanent or I think
the
people
cones?
wanted, huh?
They're just cones.
No, these are actual no parking signs. They look permanent type structures to me. I drove by there today.
So we we posted we actually used the city's account to post on that to respond to.
Oh, you did?
the
Okay.
Elected post. It was a mistake by a staffer to put those signs up. So
Okay.
we're actually gonna remedy that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, all good up here?
All good.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That was
Second.
Graham, do I have a second? That's Lida. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, anybody need a break?
Nope.
All right, all good?
All good.
Okay. All right, this is City of Avondale States Board of Mayor Commissioners Work Session. It's February 24th, 2026. It is now 5:46. I would like to call the meeting to order. We have an agenda before us. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
That's Lida. Do I have a second?
Second?
That's Louis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so the first item up for discussion is continued discussion, introduction of a resolution detailing BOMC, public meeting process and public comment policy. Mr. Manager, would you kind of tee this up for us?
Direction that staff received at the previous work session. We assigned Attorney Quinn to produce the draft resolution that included all of the provisions that you guys had tentatively agreed upon. So that draft resolution has been provided to you in your packet. And will be the document from which we work moving forward. Any changes to that draft that the board would like to make, you can do the same thing, provide us with direction and we make them. Otherwise, that draft would be brought forth with the next regular meeting for consideration.
Okay. All right, I like the resolution, like the structure of it and what we're proposing to do. I said really what I needed to say last time, but you know.
Yeah, me too. I said what I needed to say last time. The resolution looks good to me. It's got our public comment policy for the regular meeting. Our 10-minute break, 10 minutes, work session begins 10 minutes after the adjournment of the regular meeting. And then a work session policy. I don't guess we need to codify where we're going to sit though. I know we talked about moving, but that's that's our choice.
That was my thought when I was drafting it. That was maybe a little more detailed.
Well, you don't have to say you're going to sit right here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. That sounds fine. Yeah, it looks good to me.
Okay.
Louis, you got something?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, I have basically, I'm looking at item D and E. Under the public
3.
comment, like public comment period is not a time for dialogue. If a speaker has a question for the board or staff, it should be addressed to the appropriate party in writing to facilitate a well-considered response. So I think I thought we had kind of softened that a little bit by saying that, you know, that basically what I was thinking is instead of that, it should be addressed, say, and it cannot be answered, and the question cannot be answered at the meeting, then the speaker will fill out a question card and response will be received, and the appropriate staff and board would be copied. Because I really feel like, you know, like I said, gave an example of the situation where, you know, we have discussed something and somebody's merely wanting to clarify something we said in a question. So that would be something we could answer. And I think it would be kind of rude not to. You know, obviously there's going to be questions sometimes that we can't answer. And I don't think that's a problem. I just think, you know, as long as we say we will get back with them on something and we follow through, then I think everybody's happy. But that was kind of my main thing. And then the one other thing was I was kind of wondering about this E at regular meetings. I don't remember us discussing this about they cannot make comments about something coming up in a public hearing. I just kind of didn't know I didn't remember talking about that, and I don't know why that's important.
That's happened quite a few times. It almost happens every time that someone jumps ahead and either addresses something in the meeting that should be in the hearing or vice versa, or just makes the same comment at both. So I believe that's why that's there, and I agree with this. As to the first comment, I think really we either as a board agree to not answer or answer. Because if there's this sort of, if the door is open for, well, maybe we answer, well, then that's just going to get us back where we started. It's like, so if one of us addresses a question, that kind of starts up this whole thing that we're trying to, I wouldn't say avoid, but handle better. So I think we either need to, I mean, that's the gist of it for me, right? Is that we speak as one or none.
Thought we resolved that, and this is not necessarily something we would put into the policy or the legislation here for you to consider, but that if you need an answer from us, y'all can choose to ask us a question. We're just not taking questions from the public.
So you're referring to staff?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it says though, for the board or city staff.
Well, can we change that to staff?
I don't want to answer questions. I mean, I think that's the problem is we're like, oh, well, that's a softball. It's like, well, then
Well, I
that
can say,
blossoms into a dialogue and a bunch of questions. And well, you answered the first three. Why don't you go ahead and answer this one? It's like, I think we either need to say yes or no to,
well,
I don't think all questions are the same. And I think that, it's our job to kind of control it becoming dialogue. I think that that's doable. And
I don't.
I just feel strange sitting up here when somebody asks a question and just looking at them.
well,
Well,
let me
and-
just say, Mrs. Nicola's question earlier about Georgia Power is a good example because she said, we don't know what's going on. We don't. The answer came, from staff. The important answer said, we don't have any, control over this project. We will ask Georgia Power to do the thing. I mean, I've talked to Georgia Power reps. I could have given her my 2 cents. You give her your 2 cents. And I mean, then it would just snowball. Instead, the way that I would approach it when we're enacting this policy is I could, if I feel like I need to say something, I could say, see me at the break, send me an email, and then we could follow up that way instead of having that dialogue back and forth. Cause then, I may say something in my experience that she has another question about, and then, then it snowballs. And so to, keep it from doing that, I'm with you. I would rather not answer a question, but Mr. Mayor could look to city staff and say, do you guys talk to Georgia Power? And then you could give them that answer. Or we could, just have, it's almost like we need to set the stage that this is a comment period. You give a comment and we will take your comment, and that's
Because
it.
to me, little questions are just big questions in disguise.
Yeah.
And I've been to meetings at the Capitol, at county meetings, at City of Atlanta meetings. And they tell you, we're not answering questions. And you can ask a question and they do. They sit there and look at you. And I know it seems silly, like, what's 3 times 4? Well, we all know the answer, but it's like, well, no, we're not, because I'm telling you, the little questions cascade into big questions, and then it becomes a thing. And then if we're engaging with this person and then he asks a question and we just sit here and stonewall him, well, he feels ripped off, and that's not fair. And the whole point of this thing is equity, is that we treat everyone the same. And to me, that's a line in the sand. It's like, nope. And I know it may seem silly and it may seem rude, but I'm telling you, it will cascade quickly. And I've seen people that will abuse it. They're like, oh, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Okay, well then who's throwing it? What time is it? Well, who's paying for it? Well, blah, blah, blah. And then it just turns into this thing. And it's like, well, no, as soon as the foot's in the door, it becomes a different thing. And again, you're not treating people fairly, because if the next person asks a question and you say, nope, can't answer that. Well, you answered her question. Well, that was a simple question. Well, it doesn't matter. It's a question. It's like, we're either going to answer them or we're not. And so for me, no, that's a no. That's a no, hard no.
Well, I'd like to follow up on that, please. I feel like people do understand the difference in a question that is not answerable, that we don't have the information before us, and a question that has to do with something that's been going on in the meeting that they're trying to get, clarification on. I think another thing is in most meetings that we have, we do not have a huge amount of people in the audience to begin with. And I understand about the dialogue. I agree that the board should not get into dialogue, but I think they should be responded to always. And, it just, I just, like, I think the other thing is, asking somebody outside the meeting, well, then only that person gets the benefit of that. The rest of the board doesn't know what was answered. It's not an official answer. And so those, that's kind of the whole purpose of these meetings, is to do business for the benefit of the public, to understand the business. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from.
I don't think it's necessarily for the public. I mean,
It is for the
it's,
public. That's
no,
law.
no, it is for the public, but
It
we're
has to
not,
be in public.
we're not here to teach or to try to help people understand. Like, I can't, we're here to do the business of the city, not necessarily to teach people what the business of the city is. I mean, you have
Nobody's
to
saying
pick
anything about
some.
teaching. I'm just saying
No, I
that.
know, but it's like
we-
to help
we-
people learn and understand. For me, if I'm trying to help someone learn and understand, that's teaching.
Well,
Not
no,
teaching,
we're supposed
but
to conduct business in public for the benefit of the public, to see our work in action and to be able to understand it. And that's why, we have the opportunity for them to comment and I think seek additional information at times. And I mean, there are occasions where it has gotten out of hand. I agree, but I don't think I think they're in the minority and not the more common. So I don't know. That's just how I feel.
Okay. Louis, thoughts?
Put a little time into creating a little diagram, a visual aid.
You architect, you.
And it would, for me, it was in
I
the,
spared you guys from this over the years, right?
in the spirit of sort of equity, because I heard that discussed before, in amount of time and number of times. And so if you look on here, the blue represents the public comment part. The top is the way it is now, and the bottom is a sort of a flow diagram of the way we're proposing it. And I looked at it to see, is the blue the same? Is there a same amount of blue on the top as on the bottom? And so if you look on the upper left, there's, sort of
This is great.
a certain amount of blue. And in the middle of the bottom, which is that sort of 10-minute break for informal discussion, it's still blue.
No,
It's still a time for public and board interaction. It's just not the same. So this is, for me, this helps me feel like, it was sort of complicated and if you look at the upper left, the 3 opportunities for public comment after, as opposed to these kind of big blocks. But the other thing is there's this purple line around each one, dash purple line, and that shows the kind of life cycle. It's like if you took this and you wrapped it around a chock full of nuts coffee can, it shows that it's a cyclical thing, right?
Yeah.
It starts with the working meeting. That's where new information or a new idea or a new concept is brought up, and there's public comment available after it. And then the following week it comes up maybe for vote, and there's public comment before the vote. And there's this, and then afterwards in the informal part, there's an opportunity to say, hey, I think you made a mistake, or I think you did a good thing. So this made me feel better about the sort of the format. I don't feel like it's taking anything away. And I'm talking about the sort of sequence of events.
Right.
I think you did a great job here. Thank you for doing that. But I'll have to say that what sticks out to me the most here is we have completely eliminated this right here. We've completely eliminated that.
But it's up front now.
Well, we know we've always had public comments after each item and then a comment at the end. So what we're doing is we're moving the comment till the beginning, and then we're eliminating this public comment on the different items.
Well, we're moving it up, actually.
But I think and
Well, we're combining these two into the beginning.
someone did say, and I think it's, not unfair, is, well, we comment after you've already made the motion and discussed it. So by then it's a done deal. Now, public comments up front.
Oh, I
think
support that completely.
To me, but I mean, we used to have comment after everything, and it was not conducive to getting things done to me in an efficient way. So, but I do appreciate the diagram, and I think it's really good. But as I said, I'm good with the resolution as is. I think it's a step in the right direction, and yeah.
Mayor,
Yes.
is it okay if Attorney Quinn addresses Commissioner Stedman's question about the public hearing
Yes, please.
issue?
Sure, the reason I included that, what made me think of it is that I've seen it in other jurisdictions' policies. And the basic, intention is to prevent duplication of the same comment by the same person within the same meeting when there is a contentious zoning matter. So all zoning matters trigger our separate policy for public hearing
Right.
comments. And because we have no limit on the number of speakers that can make a regular public comment, there are certain times, and it may only be once a year or every year or two, where we may have, 75 people in here that want to comment on a particular zoning thing. So they have a right to do that within the framework of that public hearing, and that's the purpose of this. If you don't include subsection E, then they would have the right to do it all twice. That could really make for a very long meeting when you have this general public comment duplicated by the public hearing.
And we saw that recently.
Yeah.
With the Avila variant stuff, and
Was that when the meetings were conducted on the same night or just close together?
I don't.
Oh,
I
no,
just-
so I think we're referring to a public hearing within the bounds of a
Regular
yeah.
meeting? So like, let's say we had a regular meeting two weeks before the public hearing. Would that be an issue?
No,
Okay.
no, we're talking about,
Under item E.
right, we're talking about.
Same
things-
agenda.
same
Okay,
agenda,
okay,
yeah,
all right.
same meeting.
Okay, thanks.
Same night.
Mike, did you have a
No, I
comment
mean,
or question?
I'm in favor, and I like how it's laid out. Louis did a great job of diagramming, and there's really no lost areas for public comment. I do like the public comment card idea. I think that would be under the, I guess, the subset where it says, put it in writing. So I do think, some sort of standardized public comment card would be very helpful, and basically give an avenue for the public to have that, any concerns addressed, and then maybe a checkbox to signify they would like a response. And I don't know if it would be helpful to include responses by the city, in some sort of part of the following, meeting, just so, like as Lyda said, that if it's important to the public, discourse, it could be, addressed, at some point in the following meeting, so people are more aware of what was asked. I don't know if that's something we could include, or if it's helpful or relevant, but that might be something to consider.
Well, the item 1, part D, it should be addressed to the appropriate party in writing. I mean,
Yeah, that allows for, what we discussed last time, for persons to, email you directly or, write a question, down on a card or a, whatever we want to call it, that's available at the meeting, that then would be scanned and circulated back to the board the following morning.
so was that intentional to give it some flexibility or, okay,
Yeah, because we don't want to mandate how people interact with you guys necessarily. So if persons are more comfortable writing to you individually, they,
okay, so
them to do so.
if we left the language as is, we could put out cards, we could not put out cards, we could,
Right.
so does putting in the stipulation for cards, is that necessary?
I don't think so if it's just an option.
Because if you put it in there, you got to do it. If you don't put it in there, it's optional
Correct.
because it may work, it may not.
Yeah.
So, okay, that was the intention. All right.
Yep.
All right.
It's, okay, so, are we saying they can't ask the question in public, even though they know they're not gonna get an answer, that they can only ask it in writing?
They
'Cause-
can ask it. It's just we're not going to respond.
Okay, well, I think maybe we need a little clarification on that last part to make it, feel like it sounds like it,
No, it just says if a speaker has a question,
okay.
it should be addressed. We're not saying you can't have a question. We're just saying if you do, put it in writing.
Okay, well,
Anyway, all right.
If
Okay.
we use tonight as an example, question, it's form of a question about a topic of Georgia Power. You asked the city manager to make a statement, and then he made a clarifying statement back to us, back
Right.
to the board. I don't, in other words, whether the person presents it in the form of a question or not, it doesn't change anything. The city manager may make a declarative statement later that answers that question, or in other words, if it comes from here and goes towards the staff, there might be an organic answer.
And I think this does allow for that sort of discretion.
Nothing's ever stopping any member of the board from asking the staff a question during the meeting.
I think it's proper. I mean, proper. I think it's good that it is made clear up front, and if the question is as simple as it Tuesday or Wednesday, I guess it would be my discretion, but say, okay, Mr. Manager, can you answer that, please? Okay, it's going to be on Wednesday. And then that's the end of that. But, and if it is a more complex question and I didn't realize that, he can say, well, I'm not prepared to answer that at this moment, but I will get back to you.
And
But
that's,
it's just, I think it's just not allowing the door to open, because I'm telling you, if the foot gets in the door, the whole thing is moot. And I've seen it happen 100 times. It just, the little baby question becomes like a whole blown up thing that no one's prepared to answer. And then it just changes the whole track of the meeting. And I think that's what we're trying to avoid, is just getting off the rails and, as I said before, not answering correctly, or, we're not here for that. So.
And we've got that clarifying statement or informative statement at the beginning of the meeting that we need to craft.
Right. And I think that's very important that if it's a 1-page agenda or whatever, that on the back side of that page there it is. And that's what I've seen everywhere. You flip that agenda over and there it is. It tells you plain as day, like.
And our intent was to do that, was to provide instruction about comment on the agendas as they are published.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
I'm still not happy about answering questions, but I'm okay otherwise.
Okay. All right, Mike. Any closing comment or question or,
No, nothing further to ask at this time.
okay. All right. So, we will vote on this next meeting,
Yes, it will be presented to you for consideration at the
and the next meeting is,
March 11th. March 11th.
okay. So we will be voting on this March 11th. Okay. All right. Item number 4, recommendation of consulting team for downtown master plan update. I'm actually kind of excited about this one.
Glad you're excited. Yeah, I wanna work. I'm coming to here because nobody can hear me when I stand, but except for you guys, but I've learned because I've been told too many times. So I walked up here. So amazing. So we got 11 proposals for the downtown master plan. And I'm telling you, I've been doing this a pretty long time now. I like to think I'm younger than I am, but you know, I have never ever reviewed so many solid proposals. So kudos to you guys. I mean, that's actually says something about the quality of this board and the decisions that you've made to move things forward, because consultants, they want to work with people that are going to do things. They don't want things that sit on a shelf. And so, I mean, we got the best of the best, and it was a very, very difficult decision. Typically, this is more or less a staff decision. You know, we review the proposals. The grant that we're getting from ARC has a very rigid set of criteria that we go through. We rank and I mean, it's a process. So we did this for all 11 proposals. We narrowed it down to 4 and made the decision to have a few other folks weigh into our selection. So we had a small selection committee representing, you know, the DDA, representing a property owner, representing the planning and zoning board. So the head of the planning and zoning board, Lisa Shortell, representing both the DDA and a residential perspective. Actually, Dan also represents both. And then Fisher Patey stepped in from a property owner perspective. We went through that. Again, hard decision, but we landed on Lord Ecken Sargent and their team to lead this effort. They have a strong public engagement perspective. They've got KB, or Ken Blakely and Associates, as you guys probably remember them, are their economic team. So Tool Design, who's well-known in the transportation world, will be doing transportation planning. So it's a team of folks led by Lord Ecken Sargent. I think you're going to be thrilled with the results. Financially, they all came in pretty much about the same. And the reason is because it's a grant. So all those are publicly, you know, they all knew how much money was in the grant. So they all came in within, you know, $1,000 of each other, basically. It was pretty much, that was given. So we'll be, the process itself runs from April through January-ish. So we're going to be bringing back the contract for you guys. We'll be moving that forward in the process with the hope of having fully started by April. There's the beginning process. We begin with kind of public engagement. There's some steps throughout the process. We'll have a lot more details as we get to that. But yeah, we're starting. Remember, we also do the comprehensive development plan almost at the same time. So we're looking at how we kind of integrate some of the public engagement process. So we're not asking people over and over again the same questions. But that's kind of on a different track and a different process. So what else is there anything I didn't touch on that I should have?
I mean, you know, I'm happy to hear that, you know, they're sort of energized by the fact that we actually used our previous downtown master plan as a guide. I would love to go back through that document and go check.
Oh, we do. We get to do
And
that.
remember, there were
You know,
like
I've got to,
440 items in the back, and I'd love to know how many.
Yeah.
And some of them, you know, no longer applied for whatever
Right,
reason or
right.
whatever. But you know, I'm real proud of that. And, I'm happy to hear that they were sort of
Drawn to it.
energized by that. And I hope that, you know, future boards do the same. I mean, these are pros. These are well-considered recommendations. And I think also we have some momentum this time. We have some trajectory, right? And so they kind of know what we're wanting to do. And I think that helps shape, you know, or where we've been, you know, where we're going. So I think that will help shape the recommendations and so forth. But I'm genuinely excited to get this started because, yeah, the last round was pretty helpful for me at least. So
Mhm.
I'm like, just follow the plan. It's not that simple, but it's really not that complicated. It's so anyway, yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Good.
Glad to hear we had.
Okay, so we'll be back next time.
So this we'll vote on this, right?
The contract will
Yeah.
be presented to you at the next regular.
Okay. All right. So we will vote on this as well, March 11th. Awesome. Thank you,
Okay.
Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Appreciate it. And thank you for everything all the interviews and all the filtering you had to go through there. So, yes. What's that? Oh,
Oh, there it is.
the Wizard of Oz comes out from behind the curtain. How's it going?
Hey, man.
Okay. All right. Big item number 5. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm coming up here so the YouTubes can see my bald spot. I gotta give the people what they want. Okay, I probably don't need this. Couple of things. First of all, I am here before you, happy to announce the city is in receipt of an extraordinary anonymous gift in the amount of $1 million. Yes. Applause. Applause. The donors wanted to share that the gift was made possible thanks to Waffle House, who has been serving Avondale Estates since 1955. The city will have flexibility to direct the gift toward priorities that best serve the community, including infrastructure improvements, parks and public spaces, public safety, and or other initiatives that enhance quality of life for residents. On that topic, we have some significant legislation working its way through the Georgia legislature as we speak that could potentially have significant impacts to the ability of the city to generate revenue. That bill is House Bill 1114. Which also has companion legislation which would authorize the constitutional amendment process. I say all that because until we know the outcome of that legislation, which could happen very quickly, I want to encourage the BOMC to refrain from any substantive discussion about how to use the funds we are in receipt of via this incredibly generous anonymous donation. To that end, given that the legislation is expected to move through the legislature quickly, and therefore knowledge of whether that legislation will become law and the impact it may have upon the city of Avondale Estates, I have asked the city clerk to communicate with each of you about moving the spring strategic work session
up to early April, so that we can begin a hardcore, deep dive, substantive discussion on both the impact of this potential legislation, the impact that legislation might have on our ability to carry out future capital projects or execute future capital projects, because the decisions that the board will make about how to spend the resources of this gift will also have a substantial impact on the capital program and the movement of resources that are previously dedicated to some projects contained therein to other projects. You know, our original intent was to provide you guys with some information about the potential effects on our capital program, that any decisions on how to spend this donation. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words, but what I'm trying to say is I guess the movement of the legislation to a place that was previously unexpected has necessitated a little bit of a pause in the discussion of how to spend this money so that we can understand the impacts of that legislation on our ability to generate revenue and allocate or appropriate revenue to, you know, their eventual sources and projects.
Right.
That makes sense
Makes
to
sense.
everybody.
Yes.
It does
Okay.
make sense.
Okay. And just to bring you up to speed, we just received word from the Capitol that House Bill 1114 did pass through the Ways and Means Committee and is available to be considered on the House floor as early as tomorrow.
Oh, soon.
That's the one that eliminates residential property tax.
That eliminates homesteaded property tax by the year 2032. Until 2032, if enacted, there would be a graduated mandatory homestead exemption and the possibility of each county to levy a equalizing or offsetting sales tax in response to the reduction in revenues that could be generated from property tax. Kind of like our previous taxation legislation that we had to work through 2 years ago, this is even more complex and will have even more nuanced impacts onto our coffers. So we want to deliver to you guys the best information possible so that we can begin a discussion on what resources we will have available for future projects and even current projects. You know, in a
Right.
Yeah.
So are you
Well-
saying that they would be eliminating just residential property taxes, homesteaded residential?
So if this legislation and I'm going to try and be as specific as I can, but if this legislation were to become law from properties that are also homesteaded, meaning that the owner of the property lives in resides on the property, the collection of property taxes from those properties would cease in their entirety.
That commercial would continue.
Correct.
And,
Or non-homesteaded residential.
Okay.
Correct.
and any first blush analysis?
Sure.
There's no one sales tax is gonna make it.
It's difficult to really give you a pinpointed analysis because I can't work in $2032 because I don't know what they'll be, but let's work in $2025, which is the last tax year for which we have, good information. We generate about $3.3 million in annual revenue from homesteaded properties. If we no longer were able to do that, and we would rely upon the L-host, as they're calling it, sales tax to equalize or make up for the loss of revenue generated from those properties, and the distribution of those collections followed the same model that all of the municipalities within DeKalb County and DeKalb County have agreed to, which is actually, again, required by this legislation to agree to a distribution formula. But if we kept the same distribution formula, our receipts from the sales tax would be about $2.1 million annually. So we would have a significant revenue gap of about $1.3 million right off the bat.
It's not so bad, is it?
What quarter of our budget?
It would,
Joking. That's 20% of our budget.
yeah, it would effectively, cause us to,
I'd like to point
change
out
the
that
way
for
we
this thing
operate.
to pass, it requires a supermajority in the House and the Senate, which means that a lot of Democrats would need to vote for this. Maybe I shouldn't say that from up here, but that would be really disappointing. But anyway, I'll stop right there.
And yes, I don't know
This is going to
if
kill.
a super majority is able to be achieved. If it is not, and that legislation dies, right? I think it is worth bringing to your attention that there's other legislation that was introduced by the Senate, which would require all of the municipalities who opted out of HB 581 to opt into HB 581. So if this legislation dies, most likely that legislation would become law,
Right. Well, so
which would also have impacts on our revenue collection that we would have to get into, in detail.
well, first of all, thank you to the donor. That's a big deal for us.
Huge.
And you'd have to ask the person where this, why, but I would like to think that it's because we're a city that's actually doing something, that we're actually trying to make ourselves better, and we're trying to create a place that future generations are proud of, and that we're taking care of our city. But I don't know where that's coming from. I mean, but I just want to say thank you on behalf of the city, the board, and everybody. It's like, that's huge. I do agree that given current conditions, we need to take a pause and, and figure out what's next. And how far are they in at this point? How many days?
The legislature?
Yeah.
Oh, I sorry, I didn't come equipped with how many days are remaining in the legislative calendar, but.
Well, they got 40 to meet.
Yeah,
So
my understanding is that, the consideration of this legislation will happen well within the time frame that the legislature has to.
but I'm just saying I'm just projecting, because in Georgia, we don't have a drop dead day. It's just on your 40th day, you're done. So, but you don't know when. It could be July, theoretically. But typically they're done by end of March.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
So I agree that the having the strategic planning session in April is apropos. So good news, possibly bad news. If the House bill passes, small cities are gonna disappear in Georgia. I mean, no doubt in my mind. They're just gonna disappear. So yeah, great idea. Okay, so what's next?
Nothing.
Oh, I mean,
There is nothing you were required to do to accept the donation.
Right.
I do want to say that though the donors would desire to remain anonymous, I have spoken with them, and I want to personally extend my sincere gratitude, and I am super thankful as you just expressed to the donors' confidence in the city and their enduring love for our community. From the conversations that I've had, the sentiment that they are very happy about the work that's been performed in the city, the health of the city moving forward, the vibrance of the city are one of the considerations that they took in order to determine whether they wanted to make this donation. So my congratulations to the board, and my deepest and sincerest gratitude to the donors. This is a tremendous gift, and I know we'll all look forward to expending those resources in the best way that we know how.
Yes.
Suddenly hungry for a Waffle House.
We all should be.
Oh, man.
Well, it is very poignant, and it's just so appropriate that it is because of Waffle House and their generosity, and it's just, that's really special. And I absolutely am going to go get something to eat after this meeting.
No, it's awesome.
I too appreciate it. I think it's wonderful. Very excited.
Yes. So,
Thank you.
Okay,
all right.
fantastic.
Is that it?
That's
on that
it.
one? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Manager. All right. Any additional comments on that one? All right. Public comment. Yes. You look like you want to say something.
It's headed to Waffle House.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Bob. If you could, please. Thank you.
Bob Rosen for Exeter. Just watching last week and this week, I really appreciate the struggle you all are facing with this public comment. And I think the answer is to find a balancing point where you listen to people because this is a small community and you want to invite people in and participate. We could use more people in the seats, but I also recognize that it can get out of hand and get in the way of the city of the business. So it reminds me of parenting. You give your kids some slack, you answer their questions, but at a certain point, there's 5 of you up there, 6, someone has to say, okay, we're good. And, you know, if the question's being directed at Lyda, Ms. Stedman, and it's getting out of hand, you all can jump in and help bring it back. So I think it's important to have people here and engaged and feeling heard. As much as some of these comments are ridiculous to me, and I wouldn't have the patience to sit there and listen, that's what you're there for. So continue to listen and cut it off when it's appropriate. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, oh, Wover. Hey, Bill or Shan.
Yes, hello,
Hey, Bill.
Bill Hover, 89 Berkeley Road, and Jan. My comment is with regards to the comment cards or the written requests for comment or responses, how that information will be disseminated to the public, because while some of it might be very much, you know, maybe for me, as a personal question that I might get in a 10-minute break or maybe at a commissioner chat, I think there are other things that are important that the general public have. And I think Commissioner Smith alluded to this somewhat in his comments on it. And so I would like to see something in the policy that establishes how that those answers are actually going to get out to the public. And I'm not, I mean, it could be part of the next meeting's, commissioner comments or a separate, agenda item, or it could be something that's published under, answers to comments on the city website. But I would like to see something like that included in this policy. And also, gee, thanks for a really nice gift that we can use to further improve our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Any others? Okay, any closing comments? Okay. All right, seeing none, I'd like to bring it back up here. Anything closing up here?
No, I didn't mention how much I love Waffle Houses. I will say it's really neat that we have something so special and ingrained in our social, our country's fabric. It's neat. I go to places and I talk about where I'm from, and usually one of the first things out of my mouth is like, the first Waffle House was there.
Yeah.
It's there, and it's a museum, and it's just really neat to call them part of our home, and it's amazing that they're giving back. So it's a wonderful thing. Thank you to everyone involved. So
Yep.
I'll add to that, my brother's family, whenever they come into town, they have to go to the Waffle House.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
never disappoints.
No, it's kind of our go-to on the road because you know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
It's like same thing. So yeah, it's awesome. So thank you once again. I'll get up here. All right. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That was Mike. Do I have a second?
Second.
That's Lida. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you online.